So you're wondering when your avoidant ex will come back. You've sat there for weeks, maybe months, and you're stressing thinking, they're not coming back. They've given me every sign to prove that's not the case. But I'm here to give you a few paradoxes that maybe you didn't even consider possibilities. Avoidants don't work the same as secure or anxious attachments. They take time. Avoidants run from their feelings, and that can last for months. And when they run, they're not thinking about anything else. They're not thinking about how that other person feels. They're not even thinking about how they feel. And I know that sounds silly, but that's how avoidants work. But the one thing people misunderstand is that when avoidants run, they eventually have to stop. It's not a marathon that carries on and on. They've got to eventually sit and feel their feelings. They've got to sit and feel the consequences of their actions. Feel the grief, the loss of the relationship and the love that you two shared. Now for an avoidant, that shift only begins once they slow down. Once they start to sit down and feel nostalgic and look back on why they left, what the reasons were, that's when things shift. Their logic is telling them, I love this person, but their emotions are on an all-time high, telling them to run, this is unsafe, I shouldn't be here, and that's what makes them run. And that confusion sets in and they begin to think, well, was I right for leaving? Is that relationship actually what I wanted? And usually the answer is yes, but it's just their inability to sit in the vulnerability of being in a committed relationship, being in love. Not because they don't want to be, but because they don't know how to. That's why when they leave, they seem really, really cold. They seem like they don't care. They're not giving you closure. They're not giving you really any logical reason as to why the relationship between you doesn't work. You're left in the state of confusion and limbo thinking, well, I don't know what this all means. Reconciliation with an avoidant isn't very straightforward, it's not linear, and in fact it's a lot more complicated than it would be with a secure attachment. But once they hit that crossroads, once they have that decision making of looking back in the past, taking accountability, recognizing the patterns and the consequences of their actions, that's usually when they start to come back. And this stage usually takes a few months. It can take anywhere from 2, sometimes even up to a year. But in most cases it's typically a few months. Now, when they come back, there's a few things that they'll be doing that you should be keeping an eye on. Now, this is the most common one, and they will stalk your social medias. When you post a story, they'll view it, even with an anonymous account, thinking you don't know it's them. Or they'll send you a DM or a DM request. They'll send you an email. They'll find any small way of reaching out to you. And when they do, it will be a breadcrumb, which means they will send a small, very emotionally non-heavy message. It will be something like, hey, how are you? How are you feeling? Nothing overly heavy, nothing like I miss you, I love you, I made a mistake. And that's them trying to ease into that vulnerability again, ease into being safe with you. Now, of course, if you were to reject them in this situation, if you were to turn around and say, nope, I don't want any part of this anymore, I'm sorry, they would take that as rejection. They would run away. And with avoidance, they would likely never return, because they don't work the same way. But if you want to engage, if you want to get back into contact and talk to them again, the one thing I will recommend is go at their pace. Reciprocate the energy. Don't put more, put less, or the same amount. Almost talk to them as if you've just met them. And over time, an avoidant may begin to feel safe with you again and want to restart the relationship. But, and I have to be honest with you when I say this, make sure that your avoidant displays signs of healing, accountability, and pattern recognition. If they don't have those things, then they're likely a dismissive avoidant, which means they will run from their feelings forever. Until an avoidant becomes an aware avoidant, one that wants to heal, one that recognizes they've done something wrong, that they feel a certain way in themselves, and not associated with you or the relationship, they won't heal. If they have those things and they take accountability, then they will heal. I really, really hope this was helpful to you. If it was, please consider subscribing. If you want to leave a comment, if you have any questions, please just leave them below. I'll try to answer every single one. Just be careful with these situations because avoidance, it's not an easy connection to be in, especially for you on the receiving end. But good luck. I hope it goes well for you.